It's that moment again when the whole family is drawn in front of a television, especially as we all are on holiday. Yes, all of us are students. We're students within the space of life. We learn every day, and for that particular schooling, there is no holiday. But I know that the formal way of learning has the long vacation at the moment. Last week we started talking about this and we talked about how to make it even more productive, especially as we know that the space of life does not have a holiday on its own. So we must ensure that we continuously learn so that we don't decay. Now, a whole lot got unfolded that last week, and very importantly, a lot of people wrote in. We ended by telling you that we're not going to take the questions because we want you to participate fully, and that means you sending your questions through our WhatsApp page or the text messages, and we take it. So for today, we're going to start by answering your question. But when I say we, it's always fun when the house is full. But for now, we're just me and
yours truly. My name is Deva Hamat, your mom, and it's a delight to be here.
Okay, so later on in the course of the program, Kevin and Henry will be joining us. But for now, we intend to go straight up and pick up questions that came last week. I recall the question was, what are you doing for holiday if you're a child, if you're a student, if you're a pupil at the moment? Share your experiences with us. And a lot of people wrote in. We'll take some of them and get them answered because we promise we'll do that. And for those of us who are parents, what are your plans? What are your activities to ensure that your children get productive this holiday? If Ada and Faith are ready with this, let them roll it. Let's read the questions and answer them. The first one says, hello, I'm a mom of 3 sons. I watch your program today. 2 have left home. I was very excited to see you discuss the issue you're engaged with today. My favorite time for bonding with my sons when they were younger was during the family altar. We also moderate our sons' consumption of media material when they were younger. All right, what's your take on this, Devon? It says,
I think that's a good one. She said I think she's re-echoing something we mentioned about how family prayer time can be a very good time to converge as a family. After prayers, sometimes some of the things that have come up during the course of the week, you can throw them up, discuss them, and take it from a spiritual standpoint, discuss stuff. So I think she's just reiterating that.
There was something else she mentioned that got me, quite recalled. Something happened within the week. Was it on Friday or Monday? Yeah, but it's not too long ago.
Yeah.
A young lad, a boy I met, I asked the boy, we're discussing something, and somehow the boy asked me, do you have twins in your family? This boy should be between 8, 9, maximum 10. He asked me, do you have twins in your family? And I said, no. He now asked me, how do twins come around? I say it's supposed to be genetic and all those things, and sometimes too, it's just a gift from God. We don't know how it happens. And I asked the boy, do you want to have twins? He said, you know how children talk. He said, maybe. I said, why do you say maybe? He said, because I don't want to get married.
Why?
I was thinking perhaps he's going to become a monk or some. And I asked why. He said, because my mother watches too much movies. In fact, I'm going to be very straight up. He said too much Indian films. Okay. And what I noticed from the films is a lot of times the men marry today, the next day the girl is serving you divorce papers. I was shocked.
Wow.
I was shocked. That was coming from a child who was less than 10 years. And this woman says she moderates what her children do with the social media. It's a lot. Parents should do, more than just the regular thing.
Yes.
What you watch, it's important.
And the thing is, while it could be I'm sure it can be very tasking to try to police media consumption, but I think that it is critical to have times when you talk, discuss issues. That way you give them a different perspective to what they are seeing either on social media or on TV, so that they get to balance it out with worldview. What we see on TV yes, it's meant to ape what's happening in real life. But in many instances, it is taken from the most sensational standpoint in order to provoke debate, sometimes to entertain, and so on. So you cannot take everything you see in movies too seriously.
Exactly.
You need to be able to balance it out with what's happening in real life.
But the truth remains that the children, you know as an adult that you cannot take them seriously. Children will never know that you're not supposed to take them seriously because their mind is still that naive, it's still that plain. So it's important parents pay attention to what they watch. Don't think that your child, look at the child, he said, my mother watches too much of this, which is why he cannot marry, because he doesn't want somebody to serve him divorce paper. That's the way he put it. Anyway, let's go to the next questions. Let's see what is coming up for the next question. It's a very short one. It says, me and my brother are learning knitting and coding. Wow. And that's coming from
That's
me.
very good.
That's really good.
That's really good, especially knitting. Knitting is associated with old women.
Nowadays, knitting is getting back in vogue. Yes, last week
I wore something with a knitted pattern in front.
Yes, it's really coming back. It's no longer old, and it's beyond learning it for the economic reasons. It's actually a way of exercising your fingers and your brain.
True.
It's like doing a puzzle, where word puzzle.
Exactly. It's and Mr. Fineface, it's nice to have you. I don't have my glasses on, so when I glanced in that direction, at first I was like, what is Mr. Olekoka doing here?
What?
But then I also said no. I said no, wrong complexion, wrong height.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you, Fineface. It's been a while.
Thank you to your husband. It's doing so well.
What?
So we need to say thank you to your husband because he's doing well.
Okay, my
late dad used to say, if you see a woman outside that looks beautiful, without the bags on her eyes, the man is working so hard.
Of course. I mean, like, I always say that I must give him kudos.
My pastor says a hardworking, behind a good-looking sister, there's a hardworking brother.
True. Very true. And vice versa.
I'm not going to be part of this debate. You're welcome. Thank you, Kevin.
You're looking beautiful.
Thank you very much. So let's go to our next question and see what we have. Many people wrote in. We'll just try and take as much as we can. And this one says, my name is Demang Prince Makengo. My heart off to NTA, and conversation for your educative program is captivating, motivating, and energizing to me and my family. That's a good one. Thank you very much. And I wish you were able to pick up more. Okay. All right. It says, what I'm engaging in during this long holiday.
Improving my talents in singing, songwriting, dancing, and poetry.
All right. Thank you very much, Prince. That's a good one. Songwriting. A lot of times musicians look for people who are really talented to write songs, because I like to sing, but I'm a very bad one. So I've never really gone public. In fact, even in the bathroom.
Okay, sing in the bathroom.
Even in the bathroom, I make sure there's nobody at home, because I'll disturb their ears. But I also know that, as a rule, I try to do a bit of songwriting where I also failed. But I've never really gone formal to learn. And from your perspective, I know you do a lot of training for people. Do you think we can actually make enough money, doing?
Yeah, I mean, with today's reality, the world is a global village. You can be a good songwriter and be writing songs for stars in the US, UK, and you name it. There are solutions that are being provided online to work remotely. And one of those jobs is also songwriting jobs. And so it's something that we can begin to look at. And what does it really take to be a songwriter? I mean, if you're very poetic in nature, you have the capacity to be able to translate what you have in your head running. Then it means those who have photographic images, can be good songwriters. Because you can, we'll call them wordsmiths. I do a lot of poetic things. In fact, by October, we're going to be having cross-country, Poets in Nigeria, show, happening in my place. So it's something that we should encourage people, because it's key in doing that. Ability to be able to improve your talent. You know, the beauty about human beings is that there's nothing you cannot learn.
True.
There's nothing you cannot learn to do. It's basically putting the mind to it, having access to the information, putting the mind to it, and be disciplined through the process required.
Sure.
That's why you can drive. You were not born a driver, right? That's why you can. I mean, you are one of those persons who is very good in your craft. That's why she can speak the way she speaks. You know what I mean? So we can learn it if we have access to it. So why don't we expose kids to those opportunities? You know, a few years ago, I made my kids to learn everything possible during holidays. Baking, pastry, this thing, coding, and by the next section, they were charging their fellow kids 1,000 to teach them coding. You know, so it's something that is encouraged. Yeah, to teach them coding.
Anyway, I know that you at one point or the other you still sing. That's why I had to throw that question to you. Do you still sing?
Well, I do, not only in the bathroom, but sometimes, you know, for the fun of it. When I hold the microphone, I do, not as a profession. Back in the school, we used to have this reggae group, you know, as a lead singer. Then we did a lot of that, but my dad didn't like the profession. So
most parents back then didn't like the profession.
You know the amazing thing. The irony of it is that we had a studio. It was a music. Yes, we had the recording label. My dad had the recording label. We had, you know, he was a promoter of a lot of artists. Never wanted any one of his kids to learn any instruments. Or not even to sing. We had full band sets. It was EMI and Sony Records, you know, distributor. Okay. But never allowed us to touch any instruments.
That's true.
I feel as if it's coming from insider knowledge. The truth is, at the point where I am in my life right now, I'm no longer keen on, like, now that I know so much more about what goes on behind the scenes with the arts.
A lot of it.
I'm not keen. Okay. I'm not keen, and I'm starting to understand why parents back then used to be reticent about their children going into the entertainment arts, either music, film, and so on and so forth. It's not something I want to talk about on air. I don't want to discourage anybody.
I think to some degree, yeah, but it is such kind of fears inhibits the potentials of your children. If I was given the privilege to handle any one of those instruments, for instance, it would have been different. My son knows how to play sax, keyboard, guitar. My daughter, same thing. Why? I had to expose them. Music helps improve in your academy. Especially if you know how to play the keyboard, you'll be good with mathematics a lot. But see, this knowledge was not given to our parents. They saw it from only one perspective, that those who get into this craft oftentimes tend to be wayward.
Yes.
Because of the binging and all of those immoral things that goes with it. Forgetting that a Davido can come out of it.
Please, that's not the best example to give. The first one you gave was not the best example.
Let's not look at.
If we're talking from the moral perspective.
Let's not look at some of those excesses that we see in the public. Afterwards, those who are not even popular as celebrities do worse things than these guys.
Yeah, but those ones are not like role models. You understand? So I'm just saying the angle you came at it from, using the first name you used as an example.
No, it's a fantastic young chap. We can't take that away from him. If he has a lot of people who are tuned to his style of music, we can't take that away from them. What we need to do for us as parents is to be able to teach our kids to look at value and throw away trash. I can't use my fear, my insecurity to groom my kids. That's a disservice to their lives.
Okay, so let me quickly take more messages, because a lot of people will be on my neck, because we did promise. There's another message coming in, and it says, "I am neither a girl nor a mom, but I would like to share my story on how I survived till date from my school days. How I got to become a beautician." Okay, so he's neither a girl nor a mom. So that means he's a boy. So if we are ready with your story, we're also ready with our devices. You can send in the story to share with us. We'll move to the next story, the next question here. This one says, "I am Cheesy Zara Emmanuel. I learned a lot from my mom, and she don't allow us to watch all channels, and I'm growing up with it. When I was 1 to 2 up till now, My mom did not allow us to watch cartoons until now. Kudos to my mom. All right, thank you very much. That's a good upbringing. Even as we speak, more messages are coming in. Let's quickly take the ones that just came in today. It says, my name is Efe from Opek Estate, Kara Access. I don't know where that is. It says, when I was 18, my dad had a construction. I constructed something and my dad destroyed it. After 4 years, because it was on the roadside, I hustled to raise another one and I was crushed again. This is my point. If I had to work hard, I would have been frustrated. If I did not work hard, I would have been frustrated or been useless. Today, I don't have a shop, but I get people. Your message is not quite explanatory.
Yeah.
So maybe perhaps you will need to write again because I don't quite understand everything you wrote. And with that, I think I'll rest the questions and we discuss the topic further. And the topic says, making our holiday period more productive. Now, Kevin, you were not with us last week, but I know that you're a big-time mom. That's father, mother. And you're also big-time into children, mentorship, because I happened to have visited your place during the holiday and saw what you're doing. What are the problems, associated with the families that interact with you? Why don't they, impact on their children as much as they should during this period?
Well, first we need to understand that the school period affords parents the opportunity to have these kids out of the way in order to be able to bring in more of their earnings back home. And so what they do, we ship the kids to the schools and expect that in the next 4 to 6 hours, in some cases 8 hours for some kids, they'll be out of our way to do the things we need to do because of the demands of the society, economic need and physiological needs that they are calling upon us. So by the time the kids come back and it's holiday, the first fear that comes in is, where do I take these kids to in order to meet up with this economic demand, especially this? You have your rent waiting for you, you have the school fees line coming up waiting for you. So what do you do? So you find something to push them to. Now, there are service providers who also are, okay, this is an opportunity for kids to learn 1 or 2 crafts. The thing is that parents haven't really come to the understanding that kids are kids not because they don't think, they are kids because they are in their formative years. And so there's a progressive window. The brain of a child is almost the same thing with the brain of an adult. Comprehension differs. And so what we need to begin to understand is that we need to begin to allow these kids to grow by exposing them to opportunities so that they can pick craft that will be attuned to their personality and enable them to survive. Because every child that is born on earth is given a survival kit. But you have to hone that skill to be able to improve on your survival kit. So if you have, a camping tool and you don't have any mountain to climb, you don't have any camp area to go to, the camping tool remains there. But if you have a camping tool and there's opportunity for camping, you bring out your camping kits and open up the bag. You have your so-called camp tent and all of those things. If you have the mountain to climb, you have the mountain gears to use. And it's the same thing parents need to begin to do so as to see the potential of this kid. But we should be careful not to overburden the kids so that allow them to play. A daughter also, somebody said the parents allow them to watch cartoon. That's of the extreme. You must be selective. There are things that are meant for kids.
There are some cartoons that are really.
There are kids. There are things meant for kids. There are things meant for adults. A child must be allowed to play, but must be tailored to see that the play does. I tell kids that I also often related, you must learn how to play and play to learn. And learn to know so that you can do what is necessary. But if you don't allow them to play, guess what? The day they have the freedom, the first day in university, the first they go for boarding, they have the opportunity and they become useless. That's why a lot of the time, kids who have been overly controlled at home, when they go out there, they turn to something, they are easily influenced because this is freedom. It's like a bird being released from the cage. The first time is not angry, but the moment it starts flying, just want to come back.
When people say allowed to play, and I'm trying to sequence the time. I was speaking to a parent, and I asked, because I knew I was coming here, what time does a child sleep? He said it's holiday period. He sleeps whenever he wants to, and then wakes whenever he wants to. And I'm like, are you sure it's the right thing to do? She said it saves her time because she doesn't need to bother so much about the child. Now, definitely, I don't know, because we're on holiday, should we have that express freedom? Should there not be a control somewhat of how the children operate? At what time, when I was growing up, and perhaps I also did the same for my kids, even though you're on holiday, you still have to get up, perhaps not 6 o'clock, now 7. And you take your bath, you take your breakfast, and you go to the study room and study till 12 o'clock. And after 12 o'clock, you get up, have maybe some sort of snacks, and then play. In the evening, when our parents are back from work, they will now call you to find out what you did in the afternoon. It's more like revision. Then you go to kitchen to help out with evening meal. I don't know. There's no structure for some people for the home during the holiday. What's your take on it?
I think that there's no absolutely correct or definitely wrong way of parenting your kids, as long as you're not cruel or harsh and you're doing it from the best place possible. So parenting styles differ, and the fact that one person is doing something this way doesn't necessarily mean the other person is wrong. So for me, I favor that during the holidays there should be more leisure. There should be I almost said extracurricular activities, but they're not in school now. There should be leisure, there should be entertainment, there should be engagement. So I favor a balance. Now, it also depends on the age of the child. Even me, I'm somebody's child. But I'm a middle-aged woman.
All of us are children of God.
Yes. So are we talking of child in the technical sense of a child, or we're referring to somebody's offspring? Are we talking to about people who are in the primary, secondary, university? These people are all children, but at different stages of the so-called child, being a child. So in the case where you have teenagers, probably they're in the boarding house, they come home during the holidays and so on. These people are not small children anymore. They are extremely capacitated. They are physically strong. Most of them will beat you to a pulp if they don't get sense. So, yes, put that strength to use. Put that energy they have to use. Encourage, but don't get nagging about it. Don't get unpleasant about it. Encourage hobbies. Encourage them to assist around the house. It doesn't have to be regimented. Somebody who is not fantastic at waking up in the morning, for instance, might be able to chip in something later on in the day. But let them understand that it is important for them to also chip in something into how the house is run. It is not proper to eat and leave your plate there for somebody else to come and pick up and go and wash. It's not proper for your room to be completely messed up because you're waiting for somebody to come and clean it up. Why are you waiting for somebody to do your laundry? But in addition to looking after yourself and picking up after yourself, remember that you're not an island in the house. There are other parts of the house that your presence should equally impact. So you will not say that you are only going to take care of your room, only your clothes, as if you are living alone. You are living with people. So for me, my philosophy in the house is, whichever space you find yourself in the house, leave it better than you met it.
Wherever you find yourself, leave it better than you met it.
Exactly.
My mom used to say that.
No prejudice to relaxation, entertainment, watch TV, wake up when you want, go out, your friends can come and so on. But in the whole of this thing, balance it out, chip in something at home too. Make time for your books. Every once in a while, pick up that book, read, refresh your memory. But it's not, for me, it's not regimented. I don't have small kids. they're adults, so I try to manage
days,
how I communicate with them.
During the long vacation, it's expected when school opens, you're going to a new class.
Yes.
My father used to always tell us then, when you're coming home, beg your seniors to give you their notes, for you to read, so that when you go in to the next class, you're prepared. But I know that some homes, as we speak, the children don't have the textbook for the next class they're going to. So when they go in, everything is brand new.
The truth is, most homes don't. If this just occurred to me, that you can actually buy the books ahead
of time, you can.
It's not something.
You can't just go buy the books.
You may not buy it.
I understand, based on the curriculum now.
Yes. No, you may not even
the school needs to give you the books that is approved.
Yes, for the next.
For the next, because maybe either go to Education Resource Center to know the books that are approved for the next class.
I'm not even talking about buying. What I
know what you're saying. We did that. We did that when we were growing up.
Yeah,
you get from your seniors,
or
read,
or your school father, or your school mother.
Whatever, you know what I mean. You read ahead of time and return to the person when school opens. Or
in some cases, even copy notes.
Sometimes you take their notes, photocopy them. It helps you when school opens. When the lecturer or teacher is teaching, it's not new. I even did it up to the university. It's like a revision class for me. At the time. But most parents, reading ahead, when the teacher starts, you already have an idea of what he's saying. So he's just bringing in maybe a fresher angle to it for you. Yeah. It's a revision. So most parents don't bother about that. And again, I think when you train somebody into something that the person is not used to for a while, it's like when we go on leave. I like to do my editing myself. But when I go on leave and I don't touch the computer for a while, just the phone, if I come back, I'm looking for where is delete, where is this, because I've been off for a while.
Tell me about it.
It's completely new. It's still important for parents, while their children are at home, to give them, compulsory time to read. But then, like you said, it shouldn't be forced. Sit down, have a conversation. We're going to have 6 weeks holiday at home. Now, what method do you think? But two things
you need to maximize your time.
Yes.
Don't spend all of it just
playing
and enjoying.
Thank you.
Add something productive to it.
Yeah. There's something also we need to also consider. A few years back, this about let's say about 8 to 9 years now, I discovered the need for personality clarity in the profiling. So I took my kids to a professional to profile them. We force kids, even on ourselves, we do that. We do this one cap fits all thing. We see something that's working for someone, we try to want to implement it, and it's wrong. There are kids that are dyslexic, and it becomes a challenge to structure them. And you think maybe they are demon possessed.
They're not.
They're not. It is just a biological.
Dyslexia not simply about inability to spell and.
No, not only that. It's a learning ability, the ability to grab things earlier enough, and two, it makes they are so very unstable.
Okay.
And you think they are useless. They're not. There are areas that they are good at. Elon Musk is a dyslexic, individual.
Is dyslexic?
Yes. The areas they are good at. If you put them in areas they are good at, fantastic. They become something else. There are some of us who don't have the patience to sit down and learn. My son is not an auditory person; he's more of a visual learning person. My daughter is more of an auditory learning person. I discovered this early enough, so I started pushing them in that direction. Spoke with the head teacher. Look, this is what these kids say. So try as much as possible to factor in this factor so that you don't force them to want to learn things. And when schools begin to use inquiry-based learning technology, it makes it easier for those who are going to be lacking behind. I was a slow learner because I was a sickler from from primary school to my secondary school. I was a sickler.
You were sickly.
Yeah, okay, I was sickly.
But when you say you are a sickler, it
looked like I was sickly. Okay, so fine. I was sickly, right? And it was a challenge getting to grab things in class. Sometimes they pick me out of the class more like a dead body, passed out, and they just take me out. So, but in my adult, I started learning, this was the challenges I have. When I did the personal priority, I not discover where the challenge was coming from and started tackling it. And today it's a different ball game because it's the discovery that has actually transformed me entirely. So in consideration, parents need to take that as part of their intentional parenting strategy to want to know who they really have and not look at themselves when we were growing up. the way they behave. They did A student, so this child must be an A student. It doesn't work that way. The child can be an A student, but you need to create the environment for that child to be an A student. Then we also need to be very careful in seeing during the holidays, wanting to bring the structure that was in school. If we train up kids in a regimental form, we will lose them when they get matured to stay on their own.
Yeah.
It should not be so. If they need to sleep, let them sleep.
True. Then,
like she said, something which is very key, have a conversation with them.
Very, very important.
And agree. What's your timetable for this holiday? Let them come up with their own plan. Then you adjust it. Then you hold them accountable to it. Sometimes it might fail.
Discussion is very
Forgive.
important.
Sometimes you might actually say, okay, you like I just took phones from my kids, because they failed to do what they're supposed to do. And they saw what it was like not having their phones for a whole day. Right? I must not just smile. I mean that's it, because you must use
data is life.
data is life. You must
Data
use the carrot
life.
and the stick approach from time to time, but not too firm. I grew up from a very, very rigid parent. My father was so principled. It broke me and it broke us. It didn't give us the relationship we should have had. But here's what it is. I need to change that. I'm not using the basis of my upbringing to use to train my kids. That would be, I told us, if I go by the way my father trained me, your kids will melt. You will not stay here. So we have to adjust to attune to our own reality, so that we don't get to be forceful and wanting to see the kids to become who they want to be. If a child wants to become a firefighter, please let him be. Don't force him to go read medicine.
Right? So there's nothing wrong with being a firefighter.
Yeah, but
that's very, very important.
Do you know why we're having the challenge we're having? Because in those days, our parents want us to all be either doctor, engineer, lawyer. 3 key professions. There may be a nurse. They think that those are the 4 key things you find in those days. Now you can do well in any given field. Data science is coming, coding is coming, AI is there. Are we thinking in that direction, or we still want them to go read the law we never read, or become the doctor we never became, because we wanted to have a doctor in our family? No, there is an AI expert that can generate the amount of money that you don't want to know, right? So we can begin to look at these opportunities as a way to push kids.
See, the key thing, both of you have said that keeps resonating in my head is the need for dialogue. Because a lot of times parents think that children are not old enough to talk. Parents think that children are not old enough to think.
Not old enough to think. That's where the big problem lies, what you just said now.
So, because every child, engage a child that is 2 years,
you hear things. In fact, there are times children say things and people are like, did somebody tell this one to come and say this thing?
As I said, the brain of a child is almost the same thing with the brain of an adult.
It's
the comprehension
and then capacity to
be able to,
capacity to understand consequence.
Yeah.
Consequence is a difficult concept to grasp a little bit. But they know
right and wrong.
They do.
They see it.
I'm talking like they know this is bad, but they don't know that if you're an adult and you do it, you go to jail.
Thank you. Like they still believe in the world of cartoon where people don't die anyway.
When
they see pattern, they adjust. It's like the social engineering thing. My little girl when she was a toddler, she wanted to always suck her finger. So what I started doing was to tap the finger. So after a while, she stopped. Now, in my learning processes, I found out that such kind of behaviors are not supposed to be stopped abruptly. Why does she want to suck her fingers? She needed something. And so the pacifier needed to come in. I didn't give a pacifier by stopping her.
At what age were you able to get her to stop?
Before she got to 2.
Oh, she was still a baby.
Yeah, before she got to 2. So that's what I'm telling you. It was just too much for her at that age. I should have allowed the progression to a certain stage, so that she can take ownership. If we go by a child's age and we think it's a child, we're missing it. Why are they called sponges? They see us do the things we do, not just necessarily the things we say, and they go by the things they see us do, not the things we say. So if you tell your kids not to do things, be accountable yourself not to do those things.
Exactly.
Because if they see you do it, It's an incentive waiting for them to manifest.
Exactly.
If dad is doing it, mommy is doing it, why not?
And I think that's where, as teenagers, sometimes we begin to see rebellion, disrespect, and things like that from kids.
They don't understand why.
We're not walking the talk.
True.
You don't want me to do this, you don't want me to do this, but you do it.
So
you expect us to pray, read the Bible, go to church, but all the music you listen to has profanity in it.
And you don't go to church.
You sit down and you watch people doing really awful things on TV and all this. How do we balance that out with this other person that wants us to be so churchious and holy? It doesn't work. So you must walk the talk. You must be that example that you're telling your kids, yeah, we're human beings, we do bad stuff. If you must do the bad stuff, do it behind, do it where they will not observe. But the problem is that still catches up with you.
Also be quick to accept that you've done wrong and be willing
and apologize.
And apologize, because if I do wrong, I apologize to my kids. If you're not under authority, it'll be difficult for your kids to be subjected to you.
True.
Anyway, the thing is, parenting is one thing that a lot of times we've been told there is no, lay down rules for it.
Playbook.
It's something we keep learning. But I know that whatever you want to keep your children to be, you must be that yourself.
Exactly.
Someone asked me how I was able to teach my children to read. I said because every time they're on holiday, I always try to make sure I read with them for, even if it's 30 minutes. So I actually did one of my masters when they were quite young. So when it's time to read, all of us sit down around the same table, and I'll tell them we're going to read till 12. So sometimes I really don't feel like reading those days, but because I had to lay that example, I'll sit down there. Sometimes I'm pretending to be reading. I'm not comprehending anything, and I also think that they were doing the same, because if they were not, how did they know it was 12 o'clock? When you they'll be the first to tell me, Mommy, it's 12 o'clock. Can we take a break?
Sometimes I do ask them to give me a summary of what they read. Because asking for
to be sure that they didn't just sit
the summary is just the
zone out.
Once I say give me a summary, then they know that somebody is going to come next time, so they have to read. I'll be taking
right now. I have some nephews, small boys in the house, so I've actually taken pain to read some storybooks, and we have a competition we're going to do by weekend. So the first person to tell the story of the book,
that's a good motivation.
Will win the prize. So we're 3 of us. We're going to do that. Incidentally, I've not read one of the books, but I intend to, go online and read summary, so that way I can know the details. That way I don't get to lose.
Talking of inculcating habits in kids, I remembered those times that my dad would be home in the evenings. He would force me to watch NTA. He was a very laid back person, but he was strict, but in a good way, not in a nasty, mean way. Both parents were strict in a good way, but his one thing that he was not compromising on at all, 9 p.m. he would
watch news.
Come and watch news so that you know what is happening in the country.
True.
And I would sit there and admire CNN, Razak Lawal's clothes.
And that brought you to NTA too.
I'll just be watching the fashion and everything. And then John Momo would come, and I used to have a crush on John Momo when I was 10 years old. So
anyway,
the purpose was defeated, but with time, I started feeling the urge to
want to be like
to read, to actually know what is being said.
The purpose was not defeated, because whether or not you liked it, there was something you learned.
Yes.
Because at a point, he would ask you, I'm sure, what did you hear?
Yes. At a point, it started coming from me.
Your mind,
he'd go to work, come back with newspapers and give me.
Yes.
So by the time I was in my late teens, I tended to be more current than my peers. And to be honest, I think it kind of pushed me into this field, into broadcasting, because I so admired CNN Orwell Brown. At the time, she was CNN Orwell Brown, and she was always well turned out. Then after a while, it was Eugenia Abu. And Eugenia Abu, they used to live down the road from us, and I was like, I'll be reading the news too one day. So we as parents, we can take baby steps to push kids in the direction we want. Them. Although he wanted me to be a lawyer, he just wanted me to.
And that's the reason why we need to know the personality of our kids, the core dominant personalities of our kids, so that we can shape them, push them to that direction, and be better. I was pulled out from a science class because my dad wanted to take over his business, and that altered my learning ability. Because why he didn't know.
Were you the only son?
No, the first son, not the only son. He didn't know. So if we get to know the personalities of our kids, guess what? We can help them to blossom so well.
Of course.
It's like a plant, in a good soil, well watered. And that's what it's supposed to be. I've been able to see some differences with these kids. What I'm doing now is to push them. Create the opportunities, let them pick the ones, what is. I started teaching them, I can draw, but my dad didn't like it.
They don't like that thing.
They don't like it because it's like funny. So I started teaching the kids how to draw. My daughter now does so well, better than myself. Her tracing is good. The boy is pushing on all that. But I told them, I said, keep learning, keep improving. Anywhere you find yourself tomorrow is beautiful.
Yes.
Oh, I want to be a doctor. No problem. You have to learn through the processes. These are the opportunities you have.
The drawing is very good if you have to study anatomy in medicine. So it's very important.
Her daughter, that's a science doctor person. The girl, I've seen her work, and I was like, what? Yeah. How can somebody be science inclined and still be such a good fine artist?
That's an advantage.
It is an advantage, but for me, it's always been either or. You're either a science person or you're an art person.
Because that's the kind of thinking we had. I mean, once you know how to, if you have artistic skills, it helps you to solve so many other problems.
True.
Because you see from that perspective, the images start popping up in your head. You sit down and you're looking at the problems, and you're thinking of how to navigate around the problems. It's just that skill. It's something that we must encourage everybody to learn, because that's who we are. Actually.
All right, still speaking on making the holiday more productive. Parents, if you're listening, it's important you get to bond with your children, because without the bonding, you will never get to find out who they are. You need to bond, you need to study. And bonding does not mean shout on your children, no, when they do wrong. Believe in dialogue and practice dialogue. When something happens, if they know the costs and consequences of what they're doing, they will do it less. And I know that a lot of people are writing in, will begin to take a bit of it. This person says, my dad did not allow me to watch television. And I'm happy you're watching now, at least. I don't know how old you are. You didn't say your name.
Yeah.
You're watching now. That's a good one. I'm sure that you also learned, other skills by not watching the television. Good morning. My name is Habib Dako. I love your program, and it's so encouraging to the upbringing of our children and the needs for parents to understand the core responsibility within the family. Kudos. Thank you, Habib. Another one says, my name is Prince Basil. I really like your program, and may God bless you all. Thank you, Basil. And good morning. Why is the line not on WhatsApp? I really love your program. Actually, the line is on WhatsApp. But we will not take calls. Just send message. Dr. Bemi. Dr. Bemi, the line is actually on WhatsApp, so you can feel free to send your messages. If WhatsApp is what you prefer, I will still take it. Hi, my name is Sikari Gabriel. I learned a lot when I was watching the program. I'm from Daksa Hawk, Adamawa State. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you so much. I love that prayer for Nigeria. Flourish from Lokoja. Please, is there anywhere children can publish a book for free? I don't know.
For free?
Yeah, there is.
Okay, where?
Amazon KDP.
Oh,
okay.
wow.
Kindle something.
This one publishing, yeah.
Kindle Direct Publishing. Right, yes.
Okay, Kindle Direct.
It's free, but it requires a bit of know-how.
There's not much technicality. The word processes are outlined. If you go to Amazon, you click on the KDP, it takes you to the page. The how-to is there, and all they need to do to be able to upload the manuscript, how you want it to be. If you want the cover, is there. Amazon does everything from start to finish for you. But you can also do yours and bring it on board.
Because I tried one time and that thing was difficult. The formatting.
The formatting is simple. They give you, Amazon will give you the template to use.
Yeah.
Our challenge is the patience to go through the processes. Because that's how I got to know. I tried. Somebody wanted to charge me for it, so I said, okay, let me try this thing out. So I saw that this thing is this easy. It's just for me to go through. Some people have been able to go learn the skills and break it down to your understanding, and so it makes it easier. But they can publish for free. It's there. You just go finish the book, do whatever. If you don't even know typesetting, take your Word document as is and drop it there. And
I think what we'll just do is if you join us for the repeat broadcast of this program, I'll try to make efforts to get the direct link for you and put it on the page. If you're watching the program, then you'll be able to copy it. But we still have more questions coming here. This was looking. This is just a contribution. I said I took it upon myself to learn something, and I learned bricklaying. That's good. Okay. You know what I noticed? The people that they call day pay workers, I tried to follow up 3 Saturdays ago. I took it upon myself. I was not in Abuja. So where I was, I went to join them to gist. I wore my jeans and all of that. Went out there, were gisting. I asked them, how much do you charge? It was somewhere in Ilori. They told me a day they charge between 2,500 and 3,000. Day
As
pay.
People who, what kind of work?
A build, construction place and all of that.
Okay.
So 2,500, 3,000. It all depends. And I know in Abuja is more. So I was wondering, if I have to do 2,500 in 10 days, that's 25,000.
So in 30 days, about 75,000.
And mind you, they are not bothered about uniform.
Mm-hmm.
They are not bothered about any other thing.
Yeah.
And they are telling me that the owner of the site gives them food. So at least if you don't have anything, you know how we say at all I was passed, and you get involved in that, I'm sure in Abuja it will be more. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, but you have to, first of all, you have to be very healthy.
To be able to do that?
Yeah, you have to be healthy, you have to be physically strong.
Mm-hmm. In some cases, not necessary. So I'm a survivalist. My late dad will always ask us to be part of the laborers in every project. So I picked up masonry, electrical, carpentry, you just name it, tiling. I picked all of those skills. And when the journey was difficult, those skills took care of me. I found myself in building, in construction. I done building before building myself, I mean, it's a skill I picked up as a laborer working in my father's sites. And so what is the desire? And also knowing what you truly want to do with it. If you want to take it as a profession, that's fine. Skills are key components of our survival, and we can't take it away. So our kids need to be exposed to different types of skills. The general conception we have this perception that bricklayers are worthless set of human beings.
That's not true.
Right? No, we treat them shabbily. Laborers are not people that are valued in the society. Drivers, laborers, security, these are 3 components, of professions that are not really valued in the society. And so people will get into this is like, good for nothing people, kind of. But such skills are skills that, if well honed, will help the society in terms of security, in terms of life expectancy, in terms of the GDP. It will really help. But
I still feel that if you're physically healthy.
When you mean physically, what do you mean by that? That means
physically healthy and strong.
Yeah,
to be a bricklayer, you're going to be lifting stuff that's heavy. It's not for the frail.
No, as a bricklayer, as a ministry, all you need to do is to have a laborer that takes up your block. If you're going to elevation.
Yeah, but we were not breaking it down into. I just see it as something that's physically demanding, lifting.
You can do it. Is to know how to use your trowel.
I may not want to.
Yeah, you may not, but
I may not want to. But for me, anything that requires physical labor, ordinary to go do police work, if they expect you to come with, certificates of physical fitness and things like that. I think that anything that requires physical lifting of heavy stuff, standing in the sun for long periods, if the healthier you are, the better served you are in that field.
True.
It's not everybody that will excel there. Some people crafted to use more of their minds.
He has identified that he can, and he's happy doing it. Another one says,
I was happy
good morning.
doing it. No, I pay for it.
Oh, you pay for it?
No,
okay.
I don't do it. I just tell them what to do.
Okay, good morning. My name is Patience from Adamawa State. During holidays, I help my parents with farm work. That's another good one. I want to believe that when you finish, you're not going to run away, because we all need farmers in this country, yes. Because you guys are the owners of our kitchen, the providers of our table, and the youth seem to be running for the white-collar job, and the farm work is running, far away from us.
Why not? When the politicians are making so much money, that they can't even account for. They pay them so much money.
Well, everybody will not be a politician. So.
No, but you see, that's the thing. When we begin to have this lopsided, compensation, incentives we give into society, it makes people who have passion for certain things. Teachers are supposed to be like people that have the passion for it, right? A lot of people are running away from being teachers. They want to get into politics, so that's where they have access to bulk money to do the things they want to do.
Yeah.
A lot of people that used to be that will want to go for farming are no longer going for farming because there's gross insecurity. At the same time, they don't even have the respect that society is supposed to give to them. As a country, we must begin to tell ourselves to look at placements of, job opportunities with same kind of respect.
Kevin, I don't mean to cut you short, but this particular topic you're raising, it's a topic for another day.
Yeah.
For today, we'll still be looking at the holidays and making them productive. And today we said it's all for the audience. So let's quickly go back again before our time runs out. Good morning, it's Justice Abochi. I really enjoy the program. I allow my kids to learn arts and crafts. Oh, kudos to you, Justice. Thank you so much for encouraging the children with you. And hi, my name is Miracle James Goma, former chairman, Taku local government area. I have 2 daughters. Educationally, they are failures in terms of skills and production. Total failure. I'm confused. Don't know what to do. Even during the holiday, nothing to show for it. You want to look at this?
I think what he means is that they're not academically inclined. It's not everybody that is.
As you expect them to be.
Yes. He can, what he can do, nobody is absolutely useless. Nobody is a waste of space. Let him look for what they are talented at and encourage them to become highly skilled in those fields.
I'll just share a story to buttress what you said. I had someone who was staying with me, is a relation, and she was in secondary school. But I found her reading was a problem. In fact, anytime she opened book, there was a crisis. So, but I also found out that when my kids, they were between 1 year and 5 years, each time any of them was ill, she took extreme care of them. Okay. And somehow she had so much joy helping people that were, not very strong. It gave her a lot of joy. You see her at her best. So she took WAEC and she did, according to her, well, she had 7 P's and 2 F. And there was nothing I could do. But she was a good girl. I went to a hospital and pleaded with them to help them, to, let her come in as a ward maid. And they did. Let her do that. With time, this girl grew up to learn nursing. And as we speak today, she's somewhere working as a nurse. She has read BSc nursing.
Oh, wow. That's good.
So it's important for you to find out
that's
what your children are. I like to share her story, and my director is telling me my time is finished. But let's see if we can run one more. What about where one have adamant wife and illiterate who doesn't agree with the man to discipline their children?
The answer is simple.
Well, it depends on what your version of discipline is.
Yeah, the way you describe the wife, right? The way you describe the wife tells me of his type of person, right? I mean, you don't describe your wife in that order. You saw her before. So what step have you taken to improve her to the things you want? The chairman that says his daughters are useless, they're not
That's
useless.
not nice
He
either.
contributed to it. You must take ownership and find a way to discover their own inherent gifts so that they can help them to be better.
Of course, yeah.
All right, I told my social media handle, they're all still filling up. Good morning, ma. Enjoy this morning conversation. God bless you all. My name is Femi Aboki Famous. Oh, wow. Your name sounds nice. Good morning. My name is Mrs. Adeze. Holiday should be time for children to learn other skills. My children were meant to learn guitar and piano. Okay, piano, that's great. I hope they're actually learning. Good morning, everyone. During holidays, I help my parents, especially my mother, in some of her domestic work. That's a good one. But also find time to help yourself learn a skill, even if it's bead making, sewing clothes, and hairdressing. Good morning. I am Wilfred. I enjoy this program. Keep it up. It will help a lot of people. Thank you so much, Wilfred. And I cannot take any more because somebody is on my neck, and just one sentence, not more than one.
Enjoy yourself during the holidays and make the time productive.
As a parent, be a parent, yeah, but allow the kids to be kids. Let them grow into their maturity over time.
And I always say what I always say. If you don't want to be a parent, please don't go to the labor room. because to be a parent is a whole lot of work, including holiday period. You must take time to be with your children and train them one way or the other. I'll see you again next week when we discuss another exciting package. But for now, remember, Nigeria is our country and we must make it good. Bye.